YouTubers, AtariLeaf here with my annual goals video. Well, what's the goals video, you might ask? The goals have to do with your video game collecting goals from year to year. Did you have goals from the last year? Did you achieve them? What are your goals for the next year? Now, I've noticed when I look back on my channel, I haven't actually done this since 2013 into 2014. So I've been kind of negligent. But I'll get into the reasons why in a minute. Now, why is this video called Downsizing in more ways than one? Because I did downsize in two ways this year. The first one, I mentioned in a video a few months back that I had a bit of a health scare back in May. My blood pressure shot through the roof. As a result, I've had to go on medication, change my diet, exercise more, and as a result, I went from 230 when I went into the emergency room in May to 182. So I've lost 48 pounds in the last 6-7 months. So, and I feel a lot better, so I've definitely downsized here. So, what am I talking now about downsizing as regards to video game collecting? Well, that's been a goal of mine actually for the last couple of years. I downsized, and I've done purges before, where I've gotten rid of things like Nintendo 64, PS2s, some smaller parts of my collection that I didn't use. This was a purge of a significant portion of my collection. And one of the catalysts, one of the reasons why I decided to do this is I actually went back, and from time to time, and I'm sure we all do this, those of us who have YouTube channels, I watch some of my old videos. And I watched a video from 2009. It was either the first or second video I ever made on YouTube, which was my collection video at the time. So in April 2009, I had this specific collection of games, and I watched that and I think, wow, that's actually the collection I've always wanted. That's the collection I originally sought out or started out to accomplish. And as a bit of a backstory, you've got to realize I've gone through two major collections prior to my current one. In 1992 I started one and sold it off in 1995. Things were cheap and easy to get back then. It was a massive Atari collection. I started up again in 2000, sold that collection in 2005. So the current collection that I have now, I started in the summer of 2008. Yeah, August 2008, I started again. And I told myself, and I told my wife, I'm not going to let it get out of hand this time. And I even said to myself, I know what I want to collect. The three Atari systems, the 2600, 7800, and the Atari 8-bit computers. I want to get the NES, because it has some great arcade ports, and maybe some Game Boy. So, that was pretty much what I had in 2009 was that collection. But as things go, you find things in thrift stores, you find things in yard sales. Next thing you know, you're collecting for this system, for that system, and it gets out of control. So I've done some purges over the years. I really started to get rid of things around 2011. For the last couple of years, I've wanted to really, really get back to that collection I had back in 2009. And I've pretty much done that. So, what did I get rid of? Well, I got rid of 4 major collections well, almost 5 in my collection. 2 of them were fairly easy to get rid of. And by easy, I mean I didn't have a hard time letting them go because I didn't have any attachment to them. The other 2 were a little bit harder. The 5th one, I just kind of downsized a bit, but I kept it. So, what were those 2 systems? Oh, and by the way, I said I've been doing this for a couple of years. I've been thinking about it for a couple of years. The reason I haven't actually done it to this point is that I wanted to sell everything in one shot. I didn't want to have to be selling things on eBay, a little bit here, a little bit there, dealing with people not getting their items, dealing with people claiming they didn't get their items, and PayPal fees and eBay fees, and I didn't want to do it a little bit at a time. That would have been harder to do. So I wanted to get rid of everything all at once. So before I tell you that, I'll tell you what I got rid of. The 2 that were easy to get rid of were the Commodore 64 and the ColecoVision. they were pretty easy to get rid of. Because I never owned them growing up. I'd always wanted them as a kid, but I didn't have any attachment to them, like an emotional attachment, a nostalgic attachment. The two that were hard to get rid of, a little harder to get rid of, one was the TurboGrafx, but I only had 3 games for it that I was playing, and I only really played 2 of them, Alien Crush and Galaga 90, and I played them infrequently. The one that was the hardest to get rid of, and it's also the biggest, probably next to my 2600, no, it probably was even bigger than my 2600 collection, so it was the biggest part of my collection. And those of you who've watched me for a while will kind of be shocked that I got rid of this. But gone now is my Tandy Color computer collection. Everything about that system is gone now. And why would I get rid of that? And I've always said this in the past, and I've said this on message boards and forums and things. This hobby of ours, retro gaming, nostalgia gets you there. In other words, whatever system you grew up with, whether it's Atari or N64 or PlayStation 2, when you revisit that when you're older, you usually choose the system of your youth because you remember it fondly and you want to relive those memories. So nostalgia gets you there. But the games, the gameplay, having fun with those games, keeps you there. And for me, the Coco was strictly a nostalgic system for me. And I've done lots of videos on the Coco, but when I really sat down and thought about it, when I really started playing these games, they're not as fun as I remember playing them. The Coco really isn't a great gaming machine. So I hardly ever played it. And this was a big part of my collection. It took up a lot of space. It was worth a lot of money. And I never played it. So I've been thinking I should probably let someone else have it. And again, I didn't want to just sell this stuff piecemeal, a little bit here, a little bit there. I wanted to do everything in a whole, one fell swoop. So back in September, I did kind of this Hail Mary pass on Facebook. I posted on the Coco Facebook, I said, if anybody wants to buy my entire collection, is within driving distance and wants to come by, drop off a huge wad of cash, and has a U-Haul or something, hit me up and take the whole thing. And I was surprised. I had quite a few messages. But one person did contact me and seriously said, he lives in Niagara Falls, I'm in Windsor, so it's about a 3.5, 4-hour drive. He was going to buy my entire Coco collection. So we went back and forth and worked out a price that we were both happy with. And then he asked if I had anything else, and I said, sure, I've got a TurboGrafx collection, I've got some Genesis games I want to sell, and the Commodore 64 and the ColecoVision. And he said, sure. He originally wasn't going to take the Commodore 64, but we worked out a price for that at the end. And he ended up buying everything. Everything that I was selling, he bought. So he came down. I figured I probably got 65 to 70% of what market value would have been for all this stuff. But I realized when you're selling in bulk like that, when you're selling one huge lot, plus the person is driving 3.5, 4 hours down here and then hauling everything back up all the time in gas, that's fine. So I was happy with the price. And I did this back in October. I got rid of everything. And so far, no regrets. So what have I got left? Actually, I'll show you. Here's my current collection. Now, I'm not going to show you all the systems, but this is the games. This is one shelf. So you can see Atari 2600 games. Over here, we've got some Atari 8-bit games, 7800, a few homebrews, some box games. That's a Retron. There's the rest of my Genesis collection and my Super Nintendo collection, a few Game Boy games, and the NES. And this is about it. This is it. I mean, I've got other stuff here, boxes, but as far as the games go, this is my entire collection. That's it, right there. So, I'm using that measuring tape to kind of hold my phone up, because the joys of bad video quality. Anyway. Yee. Okay. So that was my goal that I've had for the last couple of years, was to downsize, and I accomplished that goal. Now, does this mean that I'm not collecting anymore? I made a video once about, are you ever really done? And I don't think I ever will be, even though my collection, I'm happy with it the way it is. There's always something you find. There's always something interesting that you're going to pick up. You saw in the video there, I picked up a Retron 5 recently to play games out there. I've got a Super Retro Trio for playing in here. I ordered a copy of Draconian. I've done a couple of videos on Draconian. It's an Atari 2600 homebrew. Fantastic game. I can't wait to get this game, play it on real hardware, and I'll do a review. Great game. But I still pick things up. For example, over here, just this past weekend, I gotta get up again. I picked up this at the local game store. They had an Atari ST, a 520 ST. Computer, monitor has a built-in disk drive, which I guess is a kind of a rare thing. It's got a couple of minor problems. Power switch, the mouse doesn't work, but I can work around those. And I got a bunch of books and other things to go with it. Maybe I'll edit this so it's not so jarring for you. But there we go. In conclusion, my collection has been probably literally halved, and I am happier now than I ever was with my collection. I've got a good chunk of change that's going to a bathroom renovation. I was able to buy a few extra things like the Retron 5, the Super Retro Trio, getting homebrews. By the way, the ST didn't really cost me anything. It was $70, but I brought in some trade bait, so the ST was basically free in a way. Again, I got rid of stuff that I wasn't using anyway, so that's it. What are your goals for 2018? Did you have collecting goals from 2017? Did you accomplish the goals that you wanted to? That's my question for the day. I know it's still early in December, but hey, who knows? I might have forgotten to do this video again for another year. But I remembered, so I did it. I made sure to do it. So, downsized for the win. Happy about it. I'll still be picking up things here and there. But that's the other thing I was going to mention before I leave. I will still pick up things every now and then, but the difference going to be, and the Atari ST is a good example, I'm going to play around with it for a little bit, try some of the games, probably make some videos on the ST and some of its games, but after a while, a few months, a year, I'll sell it, because it's not going to really be a part of my collection. And that's what I'd like to do, is experience some systems, get it, keep it for a while, and then set it free, so to speak. And I think that's a better way for me to do it. I keep the core part of my collection, the games I really enjoy, and then experiment with other systems and learn them and enjoy them too. So what are your goals for 2018? That's what I want to hear from you. This is AtariLeaf. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.